Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Weiss, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do.
And do tech good.
Doing tech. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us on a very special episode of the Thunder Nerds. We have some great guests today. We got three guests, and we're going to be talking about DevFest Florida. It's pretty amazing, and we'll dive into that, and we'll get to these guests. But before we do, if you could please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube/C for channel/Thunder Nerds. Go to iTunes, provide us a review. That's thundernerds.io/review, and you'll be sent there. Go to our Patreon. Live chat with us during the show. We'll answer your questions too. Hit us up on Twitter. And with that being said, and without any further ado, let's welcome our guests from the DevFest. We have Hendrix, Michael, and Michael. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, great to be here.
Hey, yeah. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us. And if you don't mind, I'd love to start off by getting a little bit of context about you guys. Could you introduce yourself a little bit and say who you are and what you actually do outside of the DevFest? How about you? You go first, Michael.
Michael go first.
Michael go first.
My name is Michael Rosario. I work as a consultant for tech systems, and I'm also a geek dad as well. So I have three little ones, so they're a big part of what I do as a human being. And all of us in our Google developer group, we're passionate about helping people take that next step in their career. Whatever it is, whether it's just getting started or, making that next move. That's a little bit about me.
Nice.
And where are you located? Are you in?
I'm in Winter Park, Florida.
Oh, okay. Nice. Getting some rain now. Yeah. And next, Michael, or let's go next.
Okay. I'm Michael Prentice. I'm located in the East Coast of Florida here, so Melbourne area. My GDG group is called GDG Space Coast. I am consultant for my company that's called DevIntent. I've been working with DevFest Florida for a few years now, and I do a lot of working with clients and also contributing to open source projects. So I'm I'm the lead maintainer of AngularJS material, and I do some other contributions to different parts of Angular.
Yes.
So my name is Hendrix Tavarez. I'm actually moving recently to Orlando. I've been here for a year, maybe a year plus, and I work in my own little shop, Lockerfish Labs, where I kind of work with small clients and small business and develop new products for them. I got involved with GDG back from New York. I actually organized two GDG there. One of them I founded in the Bronx with someone else. I was teaching at a college there for a while. And when I moved to Florida, I wanted to get involved with the tech community here, and I started organizing GDG Central Florida, and actually volunteered for last year DevFest. And so this year I'm kind of organizing.
Nice, that's awesome. And you bring up an interesting thing I wanted to ask you about for the people that don't know what GDG is, which is the Google Developers Group. Could you tell us what the Google Developers Group is, what it stands for, what its mission is?
So GDG stands for Google Developers Group, and it's sort of like a platform to let communities share and learn about technology, open source, geared towards Google technology, but it's open to any other technology. So in our groups, we welcome people from other tech, and that's fine. We just love to kind of help each other learn new stuff. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and they do GDG. I noticed even that your website is based on the hoverboard, which is I guess a GDG DevFest website, which is pretty. You guys embrace it all. It's awesome.
Yeah. Actually, Michael Prentice, I think. Did you work on hoverboard? Or I see your name there. I know.
I've done a little bit helping them work out some bugs, and I have been involved in the GDGX community for a while, which is a group of GDGs that do open source to help GDGs around the world. So building websites and things that are kind of reusable.
Nice. So what exactly is the GDG's involvement in DevFest? Where did the interest come from?
I can take that. So it's GDG is really based on the Google Developer Group, and they run some different event series around the whole world. So there's a number of them each year, but DevFest has been one that has been around the longest. I don't know if it's 6 or more years now. DevFest events have been happening around the world. So it's a yearly event series. It generally happens in the fall, but we're kind of shifting ours a little bit later into the next year just to avoid any kind of hurricane season.
That's smart.
We've had that problem in the past. So it's a global event series where Google, they provide a bunch of material. They provide a number of speakers. They provide some funding for DevFest events. They provide some of the branding. They give you a whole slide deck and organizer guide that tells you, what kind of things to do. Make sure that you do this. Make sure you don't do that. And a lot of collaboration to really help these events happen all around the world.
Nice. So DevFest isn't just something within the United States. I didn't realize it was an international.
There is
initiative.
If you Google it, you can find a map of the entire world of all the different DevFests. There's usually 400 or 500 of them, I think.
Nice. I think Insight also found one today on Mars, right?
Probably.
Who knows what that camera's going to send back. That's so cool, though. Yeah, that's interesting that it's pretty much everywhere. So what's special about this one that we're talking about that's happening in Florida?
If I can jump in on that one, I think some of our founders really were passionate about bringing tech and connectivity between our various meetups in Florida. So DevFest Florida is our opportunity to have our Google developer groups provide some leadership in trying to connect people together across the state. And I think that's one piece that I'm really excited about, is just really trying to shine a light on what's kind of cool in our various startup communities and our various meetups. So not just Google Developer Group meetups.
Yeah, Florida has been for many, many years lacking in conferences. It seems in the past 10 years or so. It looks like Frederick died I guess we'll be back in a second. Past 5 to 10 years has really blossomed. I mean, we got the front end conference, we got your awesome conference, the UX Dev Summit, and there just seems to be more and more blossoming in the area. What are any of you from the start of the DevFest in Florida? Like who's of the three of you has been here from the beginning? I know Hendrix is new.
I'm the one who's been here since the beginning. It was initially set up because we had the GDG Suncoast in Tampa. We had Central Florida was at that point was kind of a new chapter. And then we had the East Coast, the Space Coast, and we wanted to we had done some individual DevFest, but they were a little smaller, and we wanted to kind of bring Central Florida together and even, try to get much more Florida. We've had a lot of people come from Jacksonville and South Florida, which has been great. So it's been around for a number of years. We did it at the Sheraton back in the day, so we were close to Disney. But then last year we were at Disney at Magic Kingdom, and we'll be back there again this year.
Yeah, and for all our listeners, it is a really nice venue. The food was incredible, which I'm going to say, conference food, usually horrible. At this event last year, it was amazing. The chef actually came out, and Frederick, if he comes back, he can vouch for me. I was having issues with what I could eat, and a chef came out and specifically brought food that I could eat. That was amazing. So if you have a gluten allergy or any sort of restrictions, they will work with you. And for a conference to do that is crazy. I don't know how they. Yeah.
Yeah, they were great. We asked them, well, how do we get a menu for these different food, allergies and groups? And they said, oh, just send those people to us and we will make something like special for them. Like each person, they will just have the chef create a custom, order for them.
Yeah.
Which was great.
So DevFest, is that a Google term? Is that something that just blossomed from the groups, or did Google itself actually start the whole festival streak? Do you know the origin of that?
I think it came from Google, and I think it was early on, back when it was sort of the GTUG days. So it used to be Google Technology Groups before it turned into Google Developer Groups. I think it was right around that transition time that it came out. It certainly was a smaller, number of events, but it's kind of stuck every year, and it's a really big part of the branding to use that. Yeah,
I did Google, like you said, and there are literally hundreds of DevFest all around the world. It's amazing. But this is occurring January 19th, correct? And is it an all-day event? It starts at, when does the conference actually begin, the keynote?
So we start at 9:00, the keynote, and go all the way up to about 7:00. So it's a full packed event. Yes.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a Magic Developers Conference, as you coined, because it's at Disney at the what was the actual venue? It's the
Contemporary.
Yes, that's right. It's Contemporary. And there's over 400 attendees so far. And so what are you thinking this year? Do you think you'll cap the go 5,000-6,000? What are we thinking?
We want to get those numbers up, mostly because it's a great venue. It's they allow us to have so basically we have one wing on one side of the whole big building for ourselves. So it's so we have all these rooms available to us. You guys are going to be occupying one of them, doing the live podcast from there with the speakers. So we want to bring as many people as possible, because we feel that the speakers that we kind of attract, and the developers and the sponsors, they all kind of benefit to coming together to an event like this.
Yeah, and I was amazed. There's 36 sessions. Jeez.
Yeah, in the past, we've kind of been begging, Google to send a speaker out to Florida, or to get some quality speakers to Florida. It was really hard because there's so much concentration in New York City and San Francisco and Seattle.
Yeah.
But this year, last year we had a couple Google speakers. We had a bunch of GDE, so Google Developer Experts.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to part 2 of DevFest Florida conversation with me having a internet problem with my the internet at my home. I think it's what is that Apple internet product that they came out with a while ago?
Airport?
The airport. I still have an airport, so I think I think it might be dying a little bit. But anyway,
did you wind it?
Yes, I put a AA battery in it. So we're going to link from part 1 to part 2 of the interview with Hendrix, Michael, and Michael. Please, let's go ahead and resume as we were talking about, and I'm not sure if we have this part on the previous video, but we were talking about the 3 tracks to the conference. Do you mind if we go ahead and talk about that, guys?
Yeah, you had just named them out, and if you could just rename them.
Yeah.
So we were, the 3 tracks are web, mobile, and new hotness.
I love that.
Yeah. So the web is what it is. We have a few tracks there. Few talks there in everything related to kind of what's happening on the web. Mobile, we're talking about Android, Flutter, just a few other things, I believe. And then new hotness is basically a combination of everything cool going on in tech, such as augmented reality, IoT, cloud stuff, and we kind of put all those stuff together in that track, on that track. Yes.
So I'm curious. You spoke, or I'm not sure. I think it was Michael who mentioned how you guys get speakers from Google sends speakers. Like, how does that work? Do you guys have to then seek anyone out, or does a big chunk of them come from that? And how do you decide who speaks, who doesn't, and how, all that jazz?
Yeah, great question.
I can take a part of it. So we do have a call for presenters that goes out, and we spread that around widely throughout the online community, social networks, and certainly we invite past speakers to come back. But there's also a good deal of work by our organizing team to individually network with certain Google experts or Google engineers to track down people that we're really interested in hearing talks about. So it's a bit of both. And then there is, I don't know how many talks we had this year submitted, but there's a large number that we do have to pick through and unfortunately make hard choices. But we also present the attendees with hard choices. They've got 3 tracks, and it may be all 3 that you want to see because there's a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, so true story. I was going through all the talks yesterday on the schedule with Michael Prentice, and he was having a tough choice, kind of picking. Oh wow, I want to be on that one. I want to be on that. so it's going to be really hard for kind of if you're interested in multiple, I guess web, mobile, or anything in the cloud, you'll be having a tough choice. But we kind of like it that way because it only says how strong our kind of speaker lineup is. Yeah,
absolutely. You have so many people to fit, speakers rather, to fit into that short day. Have you guys ever thought about making it more than one day? I mean, you obviously have plenty of people to accommodate a 2-day conference.
Why are you doing that to them, Frederick?
I'm wondering.
That's a tough question. I mean, off the top of my head, I would say there's more than that to kind of make it a 2-day. Part of the kind of the gymnastic, if you will, that we go through is we try to do this at Disney. We try to make it magical. We try to get a lot of speakers, but also we want to make it sort of affordable for most people. So we don't want to be that kind of thousands of dollar conference, and that makes it kind of tough to make it a 2-day conference.
That's fair enough. I can see that. Yeah, if you extend another day, there's a whole other set of economics that go into that.
Yeah, we depend a lot on our sponsors to make the event happen, and we want to keep the prices down so that attendees, and we have special prices for students and professors, and want to really have it an open, inclusive event. And if people are really unable to afford it, we often have programs so that we have some tickets for them. So we do everything we can to make this like one of the highest value events in Florida. There's plenty of big conferences at the big hotels and things that are multi-day, and they're $2,000-$3,000, and we're trying to come in with a quality at a lower price point.
Awesome.
Yeah, speaking of the lower price point, it's probably a good time to mention too. Our listeners can get a 25% discount on their ticket, and
how do they get a 25% discount, Brian? Where do they go?
There, we'll have a link in the show notes because I'm not reading that link out loud. But yeah, it'll be in a link on Eventbrite. 25% off. Check it out. Click it. Go to the conference. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, we'd love to see you there. We're actually going to be not only live talking with the speakers, but we're also going to be interviewing the attendees. So before the keynote, we'll be there in the hallway and in the East Rotunda, and we're going to be talking with you guys, asking you some questions. And then after the conference, we're going to ask you about some of the takeaways that you're bringing back home to your workplace and your personal life, and see what you got out of the conference. So we're excited to talk to you too.
Yeah. So some of the things that we're doing to kind of bring people, as many people as we can, is that on Black Friday we run a discount for our attendees. So we had tickets very nicely priced. I believe it was close to 50% off. And then for today, Cyber Monday, we also running. We have this form where you just put your name and email, and we're gonna raffle. I think it's 5 free tickets. So this is your opportunity to go to the conference for free. And also, there's gonna be some tickets that are gonna be half off, so 50% off. So those two things we're doing now. We're also gonna reach out to companies in local companies that if they want to bring their employees to kind of do a whole day of training and get some kind of corporate credit, we want to kind of hear from them that we want to make something affordable. And so we're still working the details on that, but that's something we're going to do.
That's great. And do you have a student discount as well?
Yes, we do. So if you go to the Eventbrite page, you will see there's a student ticket selection.
Oh, see, yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
do you mind if I kind of jump into one of the questions that I had about the whole start of the DevFest, really, and then what it's about? What was the Phil Collins? What was the genesis of this festival?
Well, before we jump into that, though, can we? There's one other section of the conference that's a workshop. I just want to make sure we don't skip the workshop.
Please go ahead, Brian.
I'm curious what the workshops entail and what they're focused on.
Michael, you go.
Yeah, well, we're going to be covering a really cool workshop on Google AR Core. That is Google's really robust technology for doing augmented reality on your Google phone. Just really fantastic opportunities for engineering innovation, maybe even making a new genre of game, right? Most of us have played Pokemon Go. We love it. This is your opportunity to make a new genre where you're using the world around you as your game board.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So lots of great opportunities there. So we got a really robust workshop on that. And we'll also be offering lots of code labs around those who want to get started with Google Cloud or containers or Kubernetes. We'll also be having code labs around those sorts of topics as well.
Cool. And Frederick, go. What was the question again? Sorry.
My question was in the history, but what is the history of the DevFest? Meaning, how did it start? What was the genesis? What was the idea? Who came up with this idea, and what's that all about?
We got to let Prentice take that.
There's two different topics there. There's one is just DevFest in general, which is, the global event series that was, created with Google developer groups around the world. There's also then just DevFest Florida, which the goal of that was to bring, a number of our different groups together. There's Tampa, there's Melbourne on the East Coast here, there's Orlando. We've also been working with South Florida and the GDG in Miami and in Fort Lauderdale area. So it's to bring all these, technical people together and get them together to network and learn technology. Also to allow us to attract higher quality speakers, to bring in some big names, which, up until last year, we really weren't able to bring in high quality Google speakers or really solid, open source speakers. But last year was great, and this year we've upped that a lot. And then also on the value topic, I've got a number of people, both clients I work with, and then also members of my chapter here who went to the last two DevFests, and each of them came back with a technology that they could implement into their business and really see great outcomes. So I've seen, startups come and learn about Firebase, and, by the next year at DevFest, they're talking about how, they've done these great things with Firebase, how it saved them all this time. So who knows what technologies that's going to be this year, but I think there's a lot of opportunities to kind of stretch your horizons and see what different opportunities are there to really make an impact in your business.
Not to mention the networking there. Everyone there is so incredibly friendly, nice, willing to talk about what they're working on and the technologies they're using. It's an amazing event.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's always going to be so much that you can find out, because the more you do this, meaning design or development, what have you, the more you learn that there's so much you don't know, and you keep discovering more as you go down the rabbit hole. But
Yeah.
to go back to my question, as you said, it's kind of two different questions, and I want to take the higher view. Is how did the idea of DevFest itself, the international conference come about?
I think it was really focused on inclusivity and bringing, allowing conferences to happen where a lot more people, like a diverse audience, is able to come. Different economic groups are able to attend, and really to sort of make it focused on the technology, the networking, and the learning, and not just have these large corporate conferences that are, thousands of dollars, but to really get more people, also just to get hands-on. A lot of these, have code labs and things. So it's really about, getting in, and you can get free training on hands-on workshops and things like that.
Yeah, I love that story about people going in and not knowing what Firebase is, and then being able to implement that into their business and finding that value and going, wow, this has saved me and my company so much money and so much time. That's great.
Yeah, I'm curious how, we see all these great technologies out there. I'm curious, like behind the scenes, you guys were talking about how you go over a list of people submitting topics and try and decide who to pick. Like, how do you do that? And how do you even balance that? Are you guys open to fresh new faces, or do you try and get the big names? And how do you balance that? Because obviously you want to get new people in, but you want to make sure you get the people that would be like, hey, I want to go to this because so-and-so's there. So I'd like to hear about that a little bit.
So for the main, so we have a kind of a form that people submit their talk, right? And this year we had over 130, I believe.
Wow.
So this is the hardest part of making a conference, I think. So we have over 130 submissions, and then you have to kind of sort through that. You have to read through everything really, and to kind of get an idea of what talks you want to pick. One of the things that we kind of like to do is make sure the local Florida community is represented. So this year we have 15
nice.
speakers from the area, from Tampa, from Gainesville, all around Orlando. So that's important. The other important thing is to make sure that we have like big name. We're very lucky to have kind of a rock star speaker in John Papa. He's local to Orlando. He's with Microsoft. He's great. He was last year at DevFest, and people love his talk. It's fantastic. So he's coming this year. So that's an easy yes, and he always submit a talk. So that makes it even easier. But then you look for whatever the holes are, whatever technology people are interested in, and then you go from there. But mostly is taking care of the local community. So you give opportunities to people that might have not talked before. So you might have someone doing it for the first time. In fact, I think Michael Rosario, you were first time last year at DevFest, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's something that so you got to give opportunity to people. We have a few of the people from the local community that was their first time doing like a big talk at a big conference, but also to big names. So it's a weird balance. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Do you say no to the big names? You're like, I'm sorry, we don't want.
Well, this year, so I have organized DevFest previously for the last 4 years, I think, and I have never encountered this problem where we have GDEs. You know what GDEs are? Those are Google Developers Expert.
Oh yes, yes.
So this year we had, I believe it was 30 GDEs from all over the world sending us a submission.
Oh, wow.
And we had to wiggle that down to, I think we ended up with 12 or 19 or 16, somewhere around there. But that's hard. Like that's hard saying no to a lot of experts. And then we had Googlers sending, asking to come down to talk, and we have to, look up what they're going to talk about. Like I have never experienced something like that before. It's hard.
See, that's like the human side that we like to talk about is the fact that you guys aren't just reviewing these and be like, nah. You're like, you care. I mean, you want to get, you put the time in. I mean, do you actually even individually contact all of them and be like, give them a yes or no answer? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Michael Rosario, you want to give your you suffer through this.
It definitely. We had many maybe sleepless nights trying to, as we were approaching that time of announcing the speakers, and we definitely, as Hendrix said, trying to mark that balance between getting nationally known minds, thought leaders, but also trying to give those opportunities to the local innovators who are just they're going to be the next John Papas, and they're going to set people on fire, right? I
could definitely think of one. Sorry to interject, but I think it's important that we cover one of the really important ones that's dear to our heart, which is Janelle Pizarro, who spoke at one, and we actually saw her at the DevFest, and we interviewed her, and now she's one of the hosts on our show.
Yeah. Yep.
That is true. That's
cool.
Cool.
Sorry you can't be here tonight, Janelle. For everybody that's watching and listening, Janelle's sick, so she's.
We love you, Janelle. Feel better.
Love you, Janelle.
We hope you feel better.
Yeah,
feel better.
But sorry to interject. Please go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a great example of. I think that's is very special about meetups in general, but also the culture of DevFest is that mix of. National thought leader combined with like this local opportunity to start something new. For many of these young thought leaders, we're really excited to create these opportunities. I mean, for me, for my first conference, it was very nerve-wracking following John Papa. Literally, he came on stage, he did an awesome rocking talk. And here I come up and try to rock people's world on web VR and getting people excited about the opportunities of building a VR with the web. I mean, it's very special, and I really thank the organizers from last year for putting faith in me and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's the local people. I mean, we talk about the big names, the national, international people, but the local people are the ones that get everyone in the local again. I'm going to say local again. The local people get the local areas really. They're the catalyst. They get the fire going in the cities and in the small towns and get people interested that might not normally be. They're the ones that run the local meetups that have the kids come in and learn about these technologies and get them going. It's important. I love that you guys focus on that.
And I think to your point, Brian, the price point is at a where it could be a intro to, say, somebody's first technical conference.
Yeah. I love the price. Like I see an event that I want to go to, and I'm like, oh, it's $1,000. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there's so many of these that are inaccessible. Yeah. Even if people will justify, I could get my work to pay for it or my office to pay for it. A lot of times that isn't the case with some companies. Even big companies won't spend $2,000 on a conference. But if you could justify, under $200, it's a lot easier to get that approval.
And if you get one of the promos with the 25% off or something like that, it's and you factor in that you get your food and whatnot, it's really a minimal price you're paying for the content and the networking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you feed people. Yeah, all that value that you're getting for that one day is just amazing. You're gonna walk away from there going, "Oh my God, I got so much in my head that I got to get down."
Yeah, and they give a snack break, 2 snack breaks, I think. Yeah, I remember that last year, and the snacks were awesome. I'm really excited about food.
I love the snacks.
So to have a conference that has like smoothies and it was great.
Well, you don't want to be at a conference suffering all day and hoping you can make it to the end.
Yeah, you can go and eat your snacks.
Yeah, you guys actually have lunch at the conference, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you're saying like at 12 o'clock, okay, see ya. Figure out Orlando, everybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's more of a chance to network.
We want to keep everyone together so they can talk and they can make connections, and it's a big part of the networking time there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important to embrace that factor, to let people have that time to network and not just wander around and get back when they get back.
Yeah, we sat with a big group of people last year during lunch and just had some wonderful conversation.
Oh, yeah. I think that's how we met Joey, too. Yeah.
On another related topic, we also saw a lot of attendees last year from, Mississippi, Texas, Maryland, Pennsylvania, etc. And it's, a great opportunity. Some of them were university students. Some of them were, enterprise employees. But a great opportunity to get out of the snow, come down, bring your family. You can go on, the day after you can go to Disney. You can. There's a lot of opportunities to, get down here, enjoy some warm weather, and work the one day. That's another reason a one day is really good, because working a family vacation in with like a 3-day conference isn't so easy. But a one day, you can kind of split both of them.
And I think it makes it a little bit more accessible, too, being on a Saturday rather than a work day that I have to take PTO off for.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Mommy and Daddy can put the kids in the Disney daycare and go to the conference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the next day you can go to one of the parks.
Yeah.
One of the things we did this year was, if you look in our website, there's a FAQ link in there. There's like one of the things we did this year with Disney is to have like especially discount tickets to the parks. So you're coming with your family. Yeah, you're coming with your family. You could go into that link, get some tickets, nicely priced. And Disney tickets are not cheap. So, but they were generous to give us kind of some special discount to our guests. So take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things here. Yeah, we'll link that in the show notes too for our listeners to check it out.
Do you mind if we talk a little bit about the, and I don't know how much you want to give away, but I'd like to talk about the keynote because the title is so interesting, the mythical web. Do you mind discussing what that's going to be about?
So the mythical web is not the title of the keynote.
Oh, it's not? Okay, then tell me, where am I getting mythical web?
We have these funky room names. So we have mythical, and we have some of the others. Let's see what it's. Legendary, enchanted.
Is this place in Disney or something? What's going on?
So those names map to specific rooms at the Contemporary, which obviously has a certain theme. So you'll see like Mythical Web is just kind of us playing a little bit with the web track, and it will be in the mythical room. So
I want to know what ours is. What is our room?
We're in the magical room F.
There you go.
Come visit us in magical room F.
Oh yeah, room F. It's just room F.
We could create a special sign and put it at the door.
Fantasia,
AKA room F.
So
go ahead.
The keynote is still a little bit TBA. I think we're pretty close. We're working with the speaker. I think it's going to be Nitya. From last year, one of our top speakers. She's planning to come down, but we're just working through all of the logistics and trying to get that figured out before we make a big announcement about it.
I had so many ideas in my head what the mythical web could have been. I was so
That actually sounds like it could be a keynote title.
it really could. Like, what would the mythical web be? Like, is the internet actually real, or is it just about the people and not networking? Like, I was like, oh, that's so interesting. You guys should just use that as
I'll tell
you're
her
welcome.
that's the name of her talk.
Yeah. This is the name of your talk. Go.
Actually, I noticed that on the website the other day, and I actually gave them some feedback. Like, we need to add a room in front of those, so it's not too confusing. But we'll get that fixed pretty soon.
I'm going to the mythical web. Yeah.
But as part of that, when you come check out our website, we've updated it recently. You can actually log in, and then you can flag the different talks that you're interested in, and you're able to even go to like a My Schedule tab, so you can kind of see the ones that you pick, so you know where to go.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the new website. You guys just deployed that, I guess, on maybe Friday night, Saturday morning, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was Thursday, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really nice. Oh, on the Thanksgivings. Gotcha. So do you mind if I ask you guys a little bit about what sets DevFest apart from another conference like this? I mean, obviously the price is very accessible. It's focused in Florida, but maybe what's different about this event from other events such as this within Florida?
I can take a crack at it.
Take a crack.
So one of the big focuses that we mentioned a couple times is really the inclusivity, not just to people who can afford it or not, but also just everyone who's there is really welcome and is there. Like we want to support a really positive attitude, a positive environment where everyone is able to come together and talk about ideas, and no one is kind of shut out. We do have a code of conduct, so we take that very seriously. And if there's any sort of issues, people can come directly to one of the organizers, and we'll make that clear at the beginning of the conference what the action is they can take if they feel uncomfortable. But it's a very inclusive and open environment. We want everyone to be comfortable being there, whether they're sort of reclusive or they're more outgoing. It's really open for everybody, and the price point is open for everyone. So we want to get the best people, the most passionate, most interested people together.
We also very supportive of women in tech. Last year we have 42% of the speakers were female, and then this year we're close to that number as well. So we have about 40% women speakers. So we're very supportive of that as well.
No, that's excellent.
Yeah, I was gonna compliment how diverse, when you look over, the speakers, how diverse it really is, and that's awesome.
Yeah, you don't see that in every conference.
No.
I know we're getting to the close to the end of the conference, so Brian, I'll let you see what the next place you want to go to, or if you guys want to provide direction on maybe some of the things that we didn't get to talk about that you might want to talk about.
I guess to remind everybody that we ran the Black Friday thing is no longer there, but the Cyber Monday special, if you look at on our Twitter page or Instagram or Facebook, that's going to run until November 30th. That's your chance to get free tickets to the conference or 50% off. The other thing is, we do this basically trying to promote the local tech community. And so price is very kind of important to us. And so we're trying to work with sponsors. So if you're sponsors out there and you want to help out, donate or sponsor some groups that you feel passionate about, reach out to us and we kind of make that happen.
That's great. And I think it's also really important that we highlight that you guys are volunteers. You're not being paid to do this. You're reaching out of the goodness of your own heart to help out the community, and just want to applaud you for being involved in doing this. I'd like to ask, speaking of that, is what got you guys involved in volunteering for the DevFest?
Who's going to start? Michael, you want to start?
Michael.
I'll go ahead.
That never gets old. Michael.
So I had the opportunity to be a part of a fantastic Google developer group out of Macon, Georgia. And that's really where I got my start, and really fell in love with just helping in that situation students get their start in their tech career. And so I've seen many students start from a code lab that we did in the Google developer group, and mature into fantastic interns to actually killing it in the market. One of my friends who started in a Google developer group sort of situation, very proud to celebrate that she's now working at Microsoft as a professional engineer there. So I love being able to see people in general, take those fantastic next steps in their career. DevFest is about pouring gas on that. Like, we're going to get to do this for hundreds of people. And so that's what keeps me going as a Google developer group organizer and as a organizer of this conference.
That's great. What about you, Hendrix?
Yeah, so for me, I kind of started in New York a few years ago, and I helped a lot of students in Bronx, New York, to kind of get their feet wet on technology, and it does wonders to you personally when you see somebody kind of grow from like not knowing much about a technology and then learning and becoming a professional and going into the job market and all that sort of thing. The other thing is that in all the GDGs that I've been involved, including the DevFest, we create this environment where it's okay to not know. Technology is so big, people are so shy about kind of opening up about learning or expressing what they want to learn or that sort of thing, that we want to create an environment where you could come in and it's okay. We all learning this stuff. A lot of the Flutter stuff is new, so we all learning as we go. And even the professionals one that are there that you see with a big name, they actually learning a lot of this stuff as we go as well. So we want to make sure that we pass that message along, so no one is shy to kind of to try something new. So that's what I love about GDG. That's what I love about DevFest, and that's what I love about community in general.
Yeah, and then on my side, I was kind of in a rat hole in a job that wasn't really going anywhere, and the years had passed, and I was looking for something more. I tried to do some sort of exploration of technology and things like that within the company, and it wasn't really well received. There was just people didn't really want to learn and didn't really want to look at new stuff. And so, I ended up starting a GDG just so that I, could have an outlet for that. And for me, that grew to, getting a great job here locally with one of the big companies here. And having great success for a couple of years, helping them with a lot of Angular and cloud, and then eventually starting my own company based on that. And now I'm working with the Angular team, which so many years ago I could not have imagined at all. So it's I've got a personal story that I've seen out of it, and then I've seen that repeated in a lot of our attendees for GDG events, for DevFest. That they've come out, they've engaged, they've, been motivated to go and learn, and they've really, been able to, focus their passion and find technologies that excite them rather than just doing, technology because that's what they have to do at work, where they find real interest in some of these things. And then that's able to, either find them a way out of their job that they're not happy with, or find them a way to really excel within the company and the position that they're in.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you bring up, is if you do have the drive and initiative to own your own destiny, your own career, your own path in life, then you need to find those avenues. You need to find like-minded people. You need to go to conferences like DevFest, and you need to speak to people. You need to network. You need to find places where you can flourish, where you can spread your wings and do the things that you want to do. And there's certainly opportunities out there. Sometimes you just have to seek them out. And that could be scary, and sometimes often leads to exciting and wonderful rewards.
And if you don't currently have any kind of mentor in your sort of professional life, DevFest is a great place to meet people and see if there's anyone out there who, there's a lot of people that will be at the event who are very willing and open to, helping mentor people.
I could definitely say that DevFest changed my life because when Brian and I went there and we were interviewing the people last time, and we ran across Janelle again because we saw her at a previous conference a few months prior to that, and we talked to her, and now she's a wonderful addition to our show and makes our show that much better with her insight. And and I also learned so much just from talking to people being at the conference. So many great takeaways. Really appreciate what you guys do.
Yeah, another thing that kind of make it a special DevFest is that some of the talks are really beginners. So like if you are starting in tech, you could go to one of these talks and kind of learn a new technology. But some of them are very advanced for people with more experience. So you could find your place if you were among all that's in the all the 10 different sessions.
Yeah, you have opportunities no matter your level, which is really nice.
Yeah,
that's a great point. Well, hey guys, I know we're right about out of time, and I just want to say first, thank you all so much for sharing with us, and I just want to provide you guys an final opportunity if you have any kind of words of wisdom, anything that you want to bestow upon the audience before we leave you today.
Yeah, we're excited to have you join our community of DevFest Florida. Whether you're a startup or you're an entrepreneur, you're wanting to take that awesome next step, we're excited to have you be part of the community.
We are really excited to have you come and actually be part of this show because you guys are going to be interviewing some of the attendees. So that's fantastic. That kind of so if you like what you see, you're able to participate right at the event.
Yeah, absolutely.
So look out for these two guys over there. and Janelle. Let's not forget her.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, guys. Super appreciate you being on the show. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you at DevFest. And the date is January 19th, 2019. It's on a Saturday. We'll see you there at 8 o'clock.
All right.
Thank you so much.